So the way to protect yourself best is to stay ahead, to build the industry, to set the standards, to make the infrastructure. And that's why I like this. I mean, it's not the competition that we had with the Soviet Union. I mean, you have some people saying it's a new Cold War. It's not. But what you've got is an effort to put American industry in the dominant position when it comes to building the new digital infrastructure that will use AI.
James Martin here. Let me quickly jump in with a question. I mean, we've talked about and used this word dominant several times, right? The way I like to think about this new AI blueprint is it's a pretty significant pivot, if not reversal, from what we've seen in previous administrations, certainly the Biden administration, right? Which is all about denying China. Now we've gone from deny to trying to dominate or trying to continue to dominate. I get that, right? But this whole idea of keeping them addicted to the U.S. stack and U.S. products, including H20 chips, et cetera, isn't that going to just make it easier for them to get to parity and to do that faster as well? Because, you know, even if the H20 is not, the best chip that we've got, doesn't have all the bells and whistles, et cetera, these guys are experts at reverse engineering, and, sooner or later, they're going to figure it out.
The Chinese have put a lot of effort into trying to reverse engineer chips. At one point, they were even using saws to cut them in half so they could see what it looked like under a microscope. Didn't work. I'm not so worried about reverse engineering. Where you've got a problem is China's essentially a peer. Think of all the places they live in now, like EVs, hypersonic missiles, robotics. China's a peer competitor, and I think this is why you hear the word dominance. There's a little bit of anxiety there. But a lot of the effort here is to say the US has the lead. We need to encourage the innovation processes, the industries that gave us that lead, and make sure they stay strong. So it's a different kind of race. And that's actually a very positive. I give credit to people like Kratsios, the science advisor, Sachs, who you had on the show. They realized that we're in a different kind of ballgame.
Yeah, and how significant is it? I mean, this isn't so much a whole of government effort, right, to make America the AI capital of the world. What's more significant, and you mentioned David Sachs, I mean, this is, he's one of the main Hill and Valley guys, right? This is DC plus Silicon Valley plus big tech getting together. That's something we haven't seen for quite a while.
Yeah, it's rather strange. And so that's been a problem. And the divorce between Silicon Valley and Washington is something that's been around for a decade. You saw Ash Carter, when he was Secretary of Defense, saying we need to reconnect Washington and Silicon Valley. I think this administration, for better, for worse, takes that really seriously. And in some ways, I'm not sure who it is. I think it might be the people I mentioned, but someone there has figured out this is a different kind of industrialization. This is a different kind of global competition. And so they're doing the steps here. Two out of the action plan is good. What's important is the 3 executive orders that accompany it, because those are the things that will compel action. And 2 out of the 3 are good. Building workforce, building manufacturing capabilities, selling to the world. We don't have a lot of competitors now. One thing we've learned in the past is if you don't sell, people will build. We've done this in satellites. We've done this in computers. We've done this in UAVs. The US starts with the lead, announces we're not going to sell. Everyone else builds their own. So this executive order is in some ways an effort to kind of stay ahead of the pack. And that's where it's got some benefit.
So selling means exports, right? And talk to me about export controls, because, under the Biden administration, we have the diffusion rules, as I'm sure you're aware of, and basically a stratification, right? The good guys and family, they get the good stuff, and it goes all the way down to you don't get anything at all because we don't like you for any number of reasons, right? The new set of rules or regulations, I haven't seen them. I don't know what's being worked on, but there's some people thinking that it could be based. High-end chips could end up being used as sort of a negotiating tool or leverage in tariff and also trade talks with certain nations. Is that? I mean, that very much politicizes things. Is that necessarily a good thing if that were to happen?
Well, one thing we've learned over the last few years is denial doesn't work. The Biden administration AI rule, very well intended, but it assumed that people wouldn't have a choice. And we know that's not the case. And one of the shocks to the system was DeepSeek, where the Chinese came up with a perfectly good AI product without our help. Now, they've used chips or they did this, but essentially denial doesn't work. And so if denial doesn't work, what are you going to do in its place? That said, the politics of
Mm.
Washington or sus is no one's going to stand up and say, I love China. But you will see a recognition that there's limits to our ability to deny. If you want to look where there's success, denying manufacturing equipment, denying capital goods, essentially, what they call semiconductor manufacturing equipment, that works. Denying the chips doesn't work. So this is a little more based on the experience of not succeeding over the last 10 years or more. Denial doesn't work,
Mm.
but flooding the market does.